I'll offer you 3 reasons: citizenship, the joy of storytelling, and the pleasure of finding out. Firstly, citizenship. All children will become members of a society, and we would want members of a society to have a sense of values and responsibility to each other. That starts at school. Issues like litter in the playground, switching off lights to save energy, caring for animals and plants, a sense of responsibility to living things. What about the planet? We really owe it to future generations to hand them down a planet which is viable, with plenty of resources, which is safe and harmonious to live in. That requires a sense of personal responsibility and respect for the environment. And finally, personal health and hygiene. Science in schools will give children a sense of the balance between diet, exercise, and good habits. We want children to look after their own bodies, as well as those of their friends and family. The history of science has managed to hand down one of its greatest legacies, the set of stories which become science today. It's important that we encourage children to learn to tell those stories for themselves. Stories of particles, stories of space and the universe, stories about the cycle of life and reproduction, stories about interdependence and ecological balance. The energy concept, another story. Children understanding such stories, having to tell them for their own selves, in their own words, that's the big ideas in science, often called the science concepts. I call them the science stories, making your own sense of your science stories. This requires skillful teaching which encourages dialogue, thinking, sharing and questioning, teaching using scaffolding and models to help children develop their own version of these stories. I think these science stories must be one of the great gifts we can offer young children. And then there's the joy of finding out. Now, practical work in school is never going to lead learners to discover Newton's laws, or the electron, or the interaction between Earth, Moon and Sun. Only storytelling can do that. But practical work and the associated skills of finding out gives children a chance to feel what it's like to be a scientist, to have made some predictions, taken measurements, recorded results, made sense of data. That's to have been a scientist for a day. And that's how science works. So even though only a handful of today's learners will become scientists for tomorrow, every learner can have experienced the challenge and the uncertainties and the joys of what it's like to be scientific and to find something out. That's how science works.